We are starting and we're live. Hi, Robin.
Hi.
How's it going?
Not too bad. How about you? Did you
Uh,
survive this week's reading?
Barely? Yeah, no, it was pretty bad. It got worse. Hey, you, get away. Sorry, my dog is making a grab for the food. Anyway, so we are back to discuss Black Ice chapters 21 through 32. We are three-fourths of the way through this god-awful fucking book.
What
I'm,
did you do to us?
huh?
What did you do to us?
I didn't do anything. I mean, we all knew what this was going into this. We all agreed to this. Okay? Ugh. So, yeah. How was your week of reading, Robin? How did you dig this last 100 pages? Also, sorry if there's background noise. Somebody is doing something really loud in the kitchen.
Um, I read it as soon as we got done with our last podcast, and I didn't look at it. Haven't looked at it since.
You got that shit over with.
Yeah. I do believe my comments on Twitter, like, "Oh, you think?" and "Ew," kind of covered a lot of it. So.
Ew.
Yeah, I have a Twitter on there saying just ew, so that way I didn't spoil it for you, poor sinner.
Well, I appreciate that because yeah, you do your reading right after we finish the podcast because you're just like get the shit over with. I saved my reading for the last 2 days to the podcast because I'm a procrastinator. So we don't. We're like, oh, don't spoil it. But yeah. So not a whole lot that happened this week. I mean, it's weird because we read 100 pages, but it doesn't feel that long. Like I feel like the font in this thing is either super big or the like spacing, the line spacing is super big because it feels like nothing happens in these 100 pages. Robin?
Yeah, it was a quick one. Can't say I was really surprised with anything that really happened in there since we did tear a lot of it apart earlier. And yeah, it just didn't seem like a lot happened.
Yeah, it's that last quarter before, the wrap up. That's obviously going to happen in the next 100-ish pages.
Yeah, we're
Um,
definitely at the beginning of the climax now.
yeah, we've got 92 more pages, and there's not any stuff at the end, like any about the author or anything. So there are 92 pages more of content, and I don't know how. I don't know how.
We'll figure it out together,
Well, yeah,
or probably a week
obviously.
apart.
So, did you have any thoughts about the stuff that happened this week? I'll let you start.
Just little things that I noticed that were being said. There was one point in the book where our lead basically says something along the lines of, well, actually, I have it written down. Let me pull it up real quick.
Right? I have a bunch of pages dog-eared, but I have to flip back to them and be like, okay, what was it on this page that irritated me? I miss having a digital copy.
I was pretty sure there were remnants of the arrogant, swaggering kid he claimed to have left behind. And I just read that. I read that 4 or 5 times going, I'm pretty sure there are remnants of it. I'm pretty sure he still is the arrogant son of a bitch that he claims to have left behind.
Right, because
Um,
in this last chunk we found out Mason's sad face, puppy dog backstory where he is a rich kid who's trying to prove, God damn it, that he's totally not a spoiled and privileged little brat. So he joins a wilderness cult that kills some other kids. But, you know, it's cool because he learned survival skills. They might have died. And he's super casual about that. But, you know, that's his backstory. He's sad about having the monies.
And that keeps him from being totally arrogant.
Right,
He can survive in the woods.
Right, he spent, I think she said, what, like 3 months? He spent 3 months with the wilderness survival cult, and that was enough to strip, like, a lifetime of rich and privileged life from his attitude, totally. Yeah, he just continues to be the biggest swinging fucking dick in this book, I swear to God. She makes a lot of noise about, and he makes a lot of noise about how he's totally not a rapist, you guys. And I love that that he keeps getting indignant whenever she gets like scared of him. You know, like he's literally her kidnapper. But yet again, we get several scenes where he's just a super condescending dick, like, oh, you thought I was going to rape you, huh? I don't know where you would get that impression. I just took you out into the wilderness against your will. But I'm not a bad guy, I swear.
Yeah, and I did notice that you posted something about, I wasn't sure I wanted my ex to rescue me anymore, and I thought there was something else that you could find here. But she was saying that she was spending so much time with her mysterious kidnapper, she wasn't sure she wanted to be rescued anymore. But then at the same time, she can't decide whether she trusts him or not. And I guess that will be the Stockholm Syndrome she keeps mentioning.
Yeah, I know. The whole thing is like, I feel like she's trying to have her cake and eat it too, the author, because she keeps going on about how, like, she has the girl have sexy times with her kidnapper, which we all agree is really gross. And then the next morning she's like, oh God, how could I have had sexy times with my kidnapper? Oh, I had totally have Stockholm syndrome. It's like, okay, you say that. Drunk. Well, yeah, I was drunk, but I wasn't really drunk because I totally had all my mental faculties. And then she's like, how could you have taken advantage of me while I was drunk? And he says, you were totally not drunk and I didn't take advantage of you, and I'm insulted that you would accuse me of that. Oh my God, you tool! You giant fucking tool. God, I hate him so much. Like, just burning hatred in my heart for this asshole. But yeah, so she's like, she keeps mentioning, oh, I have Stockholm syndrome, I shouldn't be attracted to him. But you're gonna muscle through it, you know, like I don't know, I feel like Becca Fitzpatrick is trying really hard to be like, I know about Stockholm syndrome, I know what you guys are gonna say, but my heroine knows about it too, so obviously if she actually falls in love with this guy, it's totally not Stockholm syndrome, because if you know about that, then you can just totally avoid that whole thing. And it's really frustrating because it would mean something if she were not going to pull the trigger on this romance, but I got a strong feeling that she's totally just going to go through with it. So, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, basically what Soul of the Dragon's saying. It's not Stockholm Syndrome if you lampshade it, right? That's totally how that works. If you acknowledge the thing that you're doing that is problematic, that automatically makes it okay. Really, really doesn't. I'm pretty sure we're going to end up with a Brit, Jude / Mason, whatever, ending. So this is all just a whole lot of bullshit. It's like, I know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it anyway, kind of thing. Sorry. I got a little ranty there.
Which you have a tendency to do anyway, so
Well, look, I mean, this is
it's
really
expected.
gross. I know this is what we came into this book for, but I don't know, it's almost worse when she acknowledges it so directly because if ignorance isn't an excuse, but knowing and doing it anyway just it's so gross. Like I don't want this. Ugh. Sorry.
So do you think she was drunk, or do you think that she just used that as an excuse?
Well, no, I mean, I think obviously the way that you're supposed to take it in the book is because she says straight up, she's like, oh no, I said I was drunk, but I was totally like, and all through the part where they're making out, she talks about how she feels fuzzy, but she's totally in control of herself, and I'm pretty sure that's because if she wrote it any other way, she's very keenly aware of the fact that if the girl is drunk off of her ass and she makes out with her kidnapper, it's totally not cool. So she makes sure to reassure us, the audience, that yes, Britt totally knows what she's doing. So you can find this hot and not gross, I guess. But yeah, so I think the book is very keen to tell us that Britt was totally not drunk. And
Yeah, I
she
was
only
thinking
uses that as an excuse or a way to hurt Jude, which
that's what I was thinking.
which is like, I'm sorry,
The girl yelling rape after that she had
it
consensual sex.
it really is. It is. I hate that so much. Oh my god. Yeah, it's that, and then the fact that Jude, Mason, whatever, is follows that up immediately with bullshit. I don't believe you. You knew what you were doing, and I would never take advantage of a drunk girl. The fact that he's just like totally doesn't even consider for a minute that like her point of view, it just makes them both terrible people. Oh god. I'm gonna spontaneously combust with hatred, Robin. um,
Yeah, that was my ew scene. I was like, oh god, why am I reading this?
yeah, and it's just so like you can talk up and down about Stockholm syndrome and how she's disgusted by the idea and she's ashamed of the way she acted, but you, the author, are writing this in a squee romancy way, you know? Like she's not writing it in an ooh this is gross way. She's writing it in an this is really hot way. So yeah, it's so hypocritical, like self-hypocritical in your own book. It's really weird. It's like it's like I was saying earlier, like you're doing something bad, but you're gonna do it anyway. So yeah.
Okay, and what about you? Anything you wanted to go over?
um, I don't know. I feel like I've kind of been ranting for a few minutes. We should do something you want to talk about, Robin. Is it?
I thought Jude von Sant was horrible. Because as soon as I saw Von Sant for the last name, I saw it as Saint. Whether that's actually accurate or not, I don't know. So then I got to thinking that he was supposed to be Saint Jude, which is the patron saint of lost causes, desperate situations, and hospitals.
Oh God, I'm sure that was like in it. I'm sure that was an implication. Oh, he's just such a lost cause, man. Oh, don't you love these sad, broken down bad boys who are like emotionally unavailable? You can totally fix them.
Well, I was thinking lost cause as in her situation's a lost cause. I know that the book is, but can't really do anything about that, unfortunately. But yeah, that was my first thought. Was Von Sant sounded so much like Saint that I thought of Saint Jude, and ta-da!
That is apparently not what it means according to the internet. It means dweller near a pointed rock. So,
Hmm.
yeah, but what you think.
It's still close enough where I think she purposely did it that way. So
Do you think that's his real name? Like, or do you think he was giving her a pseudonym? Because, I mean, we know that he is, according to him, he is Lauren Huntsman's brother now. So, do you think he just made that up, or do you think it's like a situation where they were, that was his father's last name or his mother's last name or something?
it sounds like they had the same parents from what I'm getting in the book. So it could definitely be just a pseudonym he gave her. In that sense. But yeah, I got the impression that they had the same parents. That the mother and the father were the same for the boy and the girl.
Hold on, I'm flipping back through because I thought he said that his father remarried and that his sister was born after him.
Well, even then, traditionally, you would get the father's name. So
I mean, I guess that's true.
traditionally, anyways. I mean, if he's if there was no mention of them being stepbrother and sister,
Yeah, I mean, they're
and
they're
they, yeah.
they're
So
definitely siblings.
I'm thinking it's a,
Pseudonym?
I think it's a pseudonym.
Yeah, it's such a yeah. It seems likely. Um, yeah.
And it's just showing his arrogance again because he's the patron saint of lost causes.
um. Oh, look, Ollie's here. Hi, Ollie.
Oh, hey, Ollie.
Everybody wave to Ollie in the chat. Um, yeah, it's pretty awful. Um, there was. I'm sorry. Did you have anything else? Because I'm probably about to rant again.
If it's related to the name, go ahead and rant.
No, I was totally
No.
gonna change the subject. So if you have anything else.
Not on top of my head at the moment, so go ahead and rant.
Okay, so we were talking about that whole the whole thing where Fitzpatrick writes one thing like, oh, it's not Stockholm syndrome because I know, kind of thing, but then she does like the opposite. So the whole thing here is that, and something that we talked about, I think in the first podcast, was where Britt is very aware that she relies on the men in her life. She mentions it in the beginning of the book very conspicuously, so it's going to be a thing. She talks about how she relies on her brother and Calvin and her father, and she's okay with that. We get that called back here when she's dealing with Jude for like letting her guard down around him, and she talks about how she's so upset with herself because she lets herself rely on Calvin and she wants him to protect her, but with Jude, she feels like she's, what's the word, like active for the first time, or like in control, or not necessarily like she's capable, which is great theoretically, except that we don't actually see her really do anything. I feel like the big moment for her was supposed to be when she kept Jude um, from getting eaten by the bear. And she took control of that situation. She told him not to run, which is cool, cool. You did one thing, but then she does keep relying on him to save her.
Yeah, and then there's also the fact that even though she got control, saved him, he kept insisting on, let me go risk my life for you. Which just irritated me, because I'm like, why do you have to sacrifice yourself?
Yeah, they're both very keen
Because you're a
on
guy?
they're very keen on sacrificing themselves for the other one, especially Jude. He's like, "No, I will protect you. I'm the dude and you were a frail girl." Even though he like will condescendingly talk to her about how capable she is. Also, I kind of hate the fact that they put that wilderness capability into Jude's backstory because it really undermines like Britt's role in the story. Because her whole thing is that she's supposed to be like she the whole I mean the blurb billed her as like the one who was supposed to guide them out of the woods, you know. Um, and but she gets together with Mason, and Mason is like, "Oh, I have 3 months worth of wilderness training, and I survived on my own in a situation where other kids got killed. So I'm clearly very competent at this." And he really doesn't need her. So it's like, well, why would you do that? Why would you not give her something that she is better at than him? Like I don't know why she chose to fucking do that. It seems like really, like I said, like really undermining to the whole strength of her heroine supposedly.
Yeah, she doesn't feel empowered, like the Soul of the Dragon mentions. In this book, she feels squashed, even with. It feels like they're trying to build her up because, hey, yeah, you're capable. You're able to do this. You're not as submissive and helpless as you've been making everyone else think and trying to build her up,
Right.
but it's just still basically, oh, you're so cute trying to be a guy.
Right, and she's not really contributing anything. What she is contributing, like the map and guiding them through the woods, is something that she got from Calvin. So it's not even something that she has for herself. It's something that another guy gave her. So I feel like Fitzpatrick is, trying to go out of her way to tell us, hey, um, what's her face? Hey, Britt is like she feels like she has more control. Like this match is better for her because she isn't relying on this boy to save her. But she's not showing it. Like she doesn't want to write a girl who doesn't need a guy to save her because that's not sexy. So she's just gonna tell us, and we're just supposed to believe her because she said it. But like Britt gave up her map. What? Like I can see letting Jude look at the map. That's fine. But why the fuck did you let it keep it? You basically just gave him the driver's wheel and made yourself a passenger because you were no longer like you don't even have that one thing that was giving you an edge. Like you just totally gave it up. She totally like made herself passive. So she has done the opposite of give herself agency, Ollie, to answer your question. She has done the opposite of that.
That and she's also made it easier for him to just kind of walk off without her at
Right.
that point as well.
Right, and
because she's obviously not contributing to anything that's going on in this book at this point.
No, he takes her and he teaches her how to hunt because he knows because 3 months of training. And he saves her, like she passes out and then she wakes up and she's in that shelter that he made. She's got his clothes on her. Honestly, the only active thing that she has done for herself, Ollie, is run away. She's run away a couple of times, and he's convinced her to come back.
Which is more of a plot convenience than an actual necessity for the
book. It
book.
really is, yeah. It's her running away is just so that they can not be in places where they don't need to be.
Yeah, and as Soul does say, the author definitely needs to show her being empowered and not just tell us.
Yeah.
There's even a chance when at the end of our section today, where she sees him in the house, and she doesn't trust him. But instead of screaming for help, she goes, "Oh God, that would mean that he'd die."
Right. So instead she allows him like after, and again we're getting back to Mason being a total dickbag who insists that he's a good guy. After he pins her on the bed. Also keep in mind that at this point she thinks that he is a killer who's killed another girl. Um, he pins her to the bed and like berates her for not trusting him. Like, do you listen to yourself and what you're doing right now? Because you are being super aggressive and inappropriate and then yelling at this girl for not trusting you. What is your fucking problem?
And yet she was worried about keeping him alive, even though he is the, evil killer and all that fun stuff.
Right, and she doesn't pull the trigger on like telling people that he's there because he needs an opportunity to, exposit and explain like, oh, I'm looking for my sister and I failed her and I feel super sad about it. Boo, And then he explains like all of the things that we were wondering, like why he was with Sean and what his goal was with Sean, which is basically what we've already figured out. I mean,
and it's by then it's also a little too late for us readers. But then you've also got to see how the two arrive at the cabin. She arrives so sick that what was it? Calvin is afraid that she's dying, and he's showing up and he's wet, but he's still alive.
Yeah. She wanders through the snow and completely incapacitates herself, and he is active and aware enough to sneak into the house somehow. Ugh. And you know what, guys? He cries afterwards. Ollie and Soul of the Dragon are talking about the whole hold you to the bed until you listen to me. But he lets go with self-disgust in his eyes, and then he starts crying, and that totally makes it all okay. Oh, he's so sad. You should totally comfort him. Yeah. Yeah, those were kind of my big takeaways. Like, Brit just gets no opportunity to be capable except for that one time with the bear. And I guess I guess we can give her props for casually leading them to the ranger station. And I feel like Fitzpatrick is trying really hard to make us respect Brit for the things that she does because like Mason also congratulates her for like taking them to the ranger station. He's like, "Oh, that wasn't an accident. You did that on purpose." And she's like, "Yep." It's like, "Oh, good job." Yeah.
You're a really good liar. That's a good thing.
Yeah, you're a good liar. Pat, I'm going to condescendingly pat you on the head. You're so good. Also, I'm still your kidnapper. And then they flirt, and it's utterly disgusting because she's flirting with her kidnapper.
And then they make out.
Yes, they flirt, they make out.
Which has already gone over.
Yeah, it's just honestly the flirting like they are classmates is just so weird because they're not. They're in a very like the power balance in this relationship is just way skewed. And to have them behaving normally is so jarring. It's honestly it's ridiculous. I don't know. Robin, find something to talk about. I'm gonna flip through my notes.
Find something to talk about. Okay, so it's my turn. Bear is a bear because he looks like a bear.
Oh yeah, the I don't know. He's a Pacific Islander, so definitely not a white dude who looks like a bear, and that is his nickname. because he looks like a bear. Because he's big and brown, y'all. Ugh. Anyway.
And he's the person that, it's been a while since we've seen a Roby.
Corby.
Corby is willing to cheat on for the kidnappers at the beginning of the book. So there's that mindset.
I'm sorry, say again?
And he's the one that Corby was willing to cheat on with one of the kidnappers earlier in the book. So there's also that aspect of that relationship in the book. And Ollie, why aren't you reading this book?
Right, you totally dodged that bullet, Ollie. Got like 4 pages folded down, and I'm flipping through them, and I have no idea why.
What section was it?
I'm looking at the part where... Oh, so... what do you think of that whole scene where Corby kind of freaks out and tells... when Corby finds out that Calvin and What's-Her-Face are dating, and she kind of flips out, and she talks about how she doesn't... Like, if you had to choose between us, you'd choose me, and I don't want to share you with him. It seems, I don't know, it seems like a weird thing to just throw in there, and I'm kind of wondering if there's going to be something more to it later on.
I think there is. I think with our predictions on Calvin, I think they're setting it up as you or me, or him and I, or whatever the correct pronoun is on that. I'm not thinking right now. And it's going to be kind of it also kind of shows the dynamic between brother and sister, that they don't necessarily care for each other like brother and sister. It's more like competition, so why not just kill one or the other? In a way.
So you think she's actually going to have to choose between them? Is that what you're saying?
I'm thinking she's trying to establish, I think Fitzgerald is trying to establish the lack of sibling affection between Calvin and Corby, so that when Corby is killed by Calvin, it's not a surprise.
Oh, so, well, yeah, they've made it pretty clear that he's not very affectionate with her, and he actually asks Britt at some point, like, how she tolerates Corby. And Corby's very spoiled, and I can definitely see them not being very close, especially considering how abusive Calvin's father is towards him and not towards Corby. So... Yeah.
You know, my oldest brother and I are very distant. We just don't have a lot in common. But I have never thought, well, I don't want you to be friends with my brother because I want you to be friends with me and I don't want to share you with my brother. I've never felt like that. He's my brother. You're not supposed to feel that way towards your brother. And if you have that feeling towards your brother or sister, I'm kind of thinking that means there's something definitely wrong with that sibling dynamic in there, and it's going to make it easier, to kill them. Now, if it would have to be something drastic for me to even think about killing either of my brothers, even though I am seriously... I'm distant from my oldest brother.
What do you mean drastic?
I really couldn't imagine what would do it at this time. If I had, I don't know, maybe if my niece's life was in trouble and the kidnapper said that I have to kill my brother to save my niece.
Robin, you really don't have to imagine situations in which you kill your brother. It's fine. It's fine.
I really couldn't tell you.
It's okay. I understand.
But yeah, it just struck me as completely off. And Senna, you have a sibling somewhere, don't you?
Yes, yeah, and I
um,
probably would not kill my brother. I mean, just putting that out there in case anybody's listening.
oh, he's destroyed my computer before, Olivia. He's still around. So that theory would be incorrect on that one.
But
But
I
yeah,
don't.
he's actually sat on my computer and damaged the screen.
Oh, well, at least it wasn't the hard drive, right? Um.
Yeah, it did, but I had to buy. I was 13. I bought that computer on my own, and at the time,
Oh,
computers were not cheaper than $700.
right.
So he broke my $700 computer, and I had to wait until I could afford another computer before I could get my notes transferred over.
Oh, that's a dick move.
He did it on accident, so I couldn't be too mad at him, but I was not happy with him for the longest time.
um. But yeah, I don't think that the book was implying that she didn't want to share her brother with Britt. I think it was saying that she didn't want to share Britt with him. So I don't think that there's an like there's not like an incest angle, but I think there might be, like, as Soul of the Dragon said, eyebrow raising, like maybe Corby is actually into Brit angle, and I'm curious because I'm wondering if that might come into play in the end. Like, I feel like it's too obvious again that Calvin is the killer, and I'm just wondering if we're gonna get like a third act revelation where like it's actually Corby somehow or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
or
kind of
that,
thinking
or Calvin
that,
and Corby.
but we
Sorry.
haven't had any indication that it could be Corby. I did consider that. I was reading it and I was kind of going, Corby's had it pretty easy through this book. Just watch her be the evil mastermind behind
Right?
all of this.
And like, why
But
is
there's
she even
also,
there?
yeah, but there's also absolutely no setup. I'm thinking that Calvin's going to kill Corby.
I just feel like that line, especially about how she doesn't want to share Brit with Calvin. Um, I think that's just it's too weird of a line to just be casual. To just be something that she threw in there because of Corby's jealousy. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's gonna come up again. Or as Ollie is saying, like, if Corby is into Brit, and then she'll be like the psychotic lesbian, which is awesome, you know. And yeah, they do very distinctly talk about how much better Brit is in comparison to Corby, which we talked about in the beginning a little bit. The
Yeah,
last
they
time
have that
Corby was
competition
present.
going on.
Yeah, and there was a line in here. I bookmarked it, and I remembered why. When she's trying on her bathing suit, and as soon as Corby saw it, she knew she'd picked the right one. Smokin', Corby said, with that desirable mix of admiration and envy. It's not actually desirable, but okay.
Well, admiration and envy, I mean, that could be her competitiveness with Brit. I mean, I've got the better fingernails even though we got the same exact manicure.
Right, no, it is. It's Brit being like, I cannot be satisfied with the way I look unless my best friend kind of hates me for it. And yeah, and then it's also Corby being like, I kind of hate you because you're hot, even though we're friends. So that's great.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think that Corby and Brit have such a dysfunctional relationship.
Yeah.
And it just feels like it's getting more, it just feels more and more dysfunctional the more I learn about the relationship.
No, I think we've convinced Ollie that Corby is the killer. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I kind of almost don't want to give Fitzpatrick that much credit because I feel like the way Calvin is so obviously like so obviously the bad guy that I'll be really surprised if she does throw that last minute curveball at us. Because she kind of tried to throw that last minute curveball with having Britt misunderstand why Mason had all of his sister's stuff.
Yeah, well, we figured out that it was his sister long before she found that information, so it really wasn't a very well thrown curveball.
Right, no, that wasn't meant to do anything except get Corby, or not Corby, get Britt and Jude to stop trusting each other, or get Britt to stop trusting Jude, so that she would be, there'd be tension. Like, oh, who is she gonna believe? Is he really the killer? Etc. etc.
Well, I was half expecting Corby to be dead when she shows up.
Yeah, he was so cagey about like letting her see her that too, I wonder how much is going to come into play, because he was really weird about not letting her just see Corby.
But at the same time, it's kind of understandable if he is so concerned about her health that he's afraid that she's going to die on him any second.
I mean, I guess, but he just made such a big hubbub about it. I feel like these are all like Chekhov's guns waiting to go off. And like Soul of the Dragon mentioned that bear that keeps following them around. They seem to think that might be another gun meant to go off.
Yeah, and I think you asked this, Ollie. There is a animal bear, and then there's a person named Bear in the book.
Yes, just to, make it less confusing. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess we will see how, because I think Mariska mentioned last week that, or somebody on Twitter mentioned that Corby's fate was pretty awful. I think it was somebody on Twitter. So I'm waiting for that shoe to drop. Like, something is obviously going to happen to Corby, or something, Corby's going to do something. So I guess we'll wait and find out.
Jude is going back to Stanford at the end of this book. And he's going to become a rich kid again.
Yeah, right? I hated that was his motivation. He's like, oh, I'm rich, and I'm going to atone for being rich by, throwing away my money and joining a wilderness cult. Like, what? It's just like, do you want me to hate him more? Is that what you're trying to do? Because it's really working.
Yeah, I think Jude is going to end up back at Stanford, and I think that Britt is going to follow him to Stanford after she graduates high school.
Oh yeah, Britt and Jude are endgame. That's totally gonna happen. How many bodies they'll leave in their wake is the real question.
I think Corby and Calvin are both going to die.
I think there's a good chance of that. I agree. Definitely Calvin. Possibly Corby. We will find out. No, he didn't. Answering Ollie's question, atone by murdering people. A couple people died because they weren't as good at wildernessing as he was in his
they
wilderness.
Didn't give any proper supervision. They basically said, okay, you're out in the woods. Survive.
Right. Yeah, they basically dropped him in the woods.
People died of, starvation, stuff like that.
Yeah. And how...
Who's going to die to protect Britt?
I think he's saying Corby.
Corby's going to die to protect Britt?
Possibly. Maybe.
No, that would go with the lesbian theory.
Yeah, I don't know if that's better or worse than her being a murderer, to be honest. Let's see.
Because you're killing off the POC character in the LGBTQIA community. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd like that idea either.
Right, so should she die for her lesbian love, or should she kill for it? No middle ground here. Yeah. I guess we'll see.
Knowing Fitzpatrick as little as I do, I'm kind of thinking that Corby's going to hear the fighting. She's going to come in, and she's going to get knocked over and hit her head on a coffee table. Something stupid like that.
She's going to accidentally die.
Yeah. No one actually purposely kills her. She just gets knocked over, hits her head on the coffee table, and dies. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
What a useless death. Yeah. It was so terrible. So, is there anything else you want to talk about? Because I think I've pretty much covered everything that made me want to vomit. I mean, more or less.
What did you think of how that ended with Calvin actually entering the room with Jude in there? Is that a good way of them ending that chapter, or is it more ranting for you? The way that happened.
I don't know. I mean, it's to kick off the climax, right? So it was gonna happen. I mean, I almost kind of wish she would have screamed. That way, she would have had a hand in it. But no, it's like emblematic of this book, right? The climax starts because she doesn't say anything. She is so passive that her passiveness sets it off.
I didn't make a choice, so the choice was taken away from me, and now Calvin and Jude are going to try to kill each other.
That is how passive she is. That's perfect. We should take a picture of that and frame it on the wall, because that is this book in a nutshell.
And then again, she's still not sure she can trust him, because they're basically wrestling at that point and going, I don't believe you because the names don't match and this and this, and yet she's still going, I don't want Calvin to know.
Right. Well, yeah, she can't make that call, and I guess I understand she doesn't have any reason to trust him. After all, he did kidnap her. So I mean her misgivings are totally valid. So yep, Jude versus Calvin. How the fuck are they gonna drag this out another 100 fucking pages? That is one hell of an epilogue.
Well, like I said, Corby's gonna hear the noise and she's gonna get hit in the head with a coffee table. So
she doesn't
even kill her, and then there'll be some whining. And then there'll be some whining over the death, and then Calvin will die, and then Jude will go, oh, he survived, give me some kisses, and then they're going to go call the police and be heroes.
No, you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen, Robin? There's going to be like a 2-chapter long fucking parlor scene is what's going to happen. Calvin's going to sit her down and explain how he was the serial killer all along, or Corby, or both of them, or whatever.
Monologuing.
They're gonna monologue. It's gonna be like 50 pages of monologuing. Just watch.
That'll happen after Corby's been hit over the head with a.
You keep changing it. Is she gonna fall and hit her head? Is somebody gonna chuck it at her? What's gonna happen, Robin?
I think it's gonna be something stupid, like she's gonna fall and hit her head.
I don't know.
I think it's going to be something stupid like that. So after she falls and hits her head and dies, and Britt is going, oh God, Corby, her brother is going to, Calvin's going to be very much like, now sit down and let me tell you about me, because her death means nothing, because she's a girl. And then after they're done monologuing here, we're going to find out who wins, Calvin or Jude, and it's going to be Jude who wins, and then they're going to make kissy face and go to college together.
The end. Happily ever after. Hope you guys enjoyed that 400-page journey.
Now, how off do you think I am here?
I don't think I don't know. I don't think you're far off. I think there's a pretty good chance that at least one of those things will happen.
Well, what are your predictions?
I mean, we've kind of covered them. Yeah, the Mason and what's her face, our end game. They're gonna end up together. Um,
Mason and Brett.
yeah, Mason and Britt are gonna end up together. Calvin's gonna die somehow. Corby may or may not die. Uh, I feel like Soul of the Dragon's onto something with the bear, but I don't know for sure because how the fuck are they gonna work that in?
Well, they're gonna run outside, and the bear's gonna be there, and he'll eat the evidence that was once Calvin.
he's just gonna eat Calvin.
Well, he'll eat the evidence of Calvin, yeah.
Okay. So, and that's how Calvin dies. He's gonna get eaten by the bear. The end. Our book is way better. Yep. So yeah, that is and has been Black Ice. We have 100 pages left, you guys. Oh,
I'll be reading it tonight, so...
Oh no, you're gonna know.
I will know in a couple of hours, and I will be tweeting one-word commentary.
Okay.
So that way I will keep Senna from... Actually, if you see something that says, I'm right! You'll have no idea what's going on.
Oh, man. This is not cool. Random table to the face. Ollie sent me that picture on Facebook, and her guess is bookcases. Corby's gonna take a bookcase to the bodily area.
Well, she could get shoved into one of those antlers that they were describing in
Right, the bear room. Oh my god, I forgot that her room is also a bear. That's gotta be like some sort of attempt at symbolism, right? There are way too many bears for it to not be. But I don't know what she's going for. Right?
So maybe instead of getting hit by the table, she's going to get rammed into by a bear claw in Corby's room. I don't know. I think it's going to be really stupid kind of a death.
I like Soul of the Dragon's guess. The bear's just going to bust into the house. Like, you guys didn't expect me to do this, did you? And then he's just going to take everybody out. It's going to be a total party kill. That'll be great.
Literally.
Yeah, I like all of our guesses 100% better than I'm sure I'm going to like the actual ending.
Oh my god, Bear can ride in on a bear and drive someone into the antlers in the bear.
We're nearing bearception here, you guys. A bear in a bear. A bear on a bear in the bear. Somebody needs to Photoshop that. I'm too lazy, but I want to see it. I would also like to mention one part that that irritated the shit out of me. It's when what's her face and what's his face, the two main characters.
Britt and Jude.
Yeah, Britt and Jude are together, and he's explaining. She makes him tell her the first moment that he wanted to kiss her, which is just like, he is your kidnapper. You're having this discussion with the man holding you hostage. Why are you acting so fucking cute? But okay, the first moment that he wanted to kiss her, and he said it was sometime in the beginning, like before they even left the cabin, he wanted to kiss her, and she flashes back to all of the times where she caught him staring at her, and she thought it was because he was just super intent on her not escaping, and she realizes that no, he was just thinking that she saw it, and then she's like, oh man, that really turns me on. And they're like, no.
Yeah, I think he said that he wanted to kiss her the moment they met at the convenience store.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that's why he gave her the little peck on the cheek when they left.
Right, and then he was watching her she's literally romanticizing the act of him keeping her hostage, because all of these things, that all of these times when he was watching her and she thought that he was trying to keep her from getting away, he really just wanted to fuck her, and she's like, that's hot. That is awful. That's so terrible. Ugh. Yeah, that was the other like emblematic of this terrible book. We'll put it on the wall right next to the passive climax start.
And the bear theory.
Yeah. It's pretty great.
Ollie, you can read it as soon as we're done with it, and then tell us what you thought of it.
Right? Ollie should form her own opinion based on the content of the book.
And not just hearsay from us.
Yeah, Ollie. Don't you know that hearsay opinions are totally invalid? She'll totally hear that like a minute and 30 seconds from now. Anyway, so that was kind of my last thing. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover before we adjourn? And then anything you guys want to cover, and we'll wait. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I am good to go. Yes. So I do believe it is very much like that. It's kind of like the kidnapping the bride tradition that they used to have. When there weren't enough brides, they'd go into the next village and kidnap a bride and marry her, and then basically carry her into the house, which is where the carry her over the threshold idea came from, because at that point she's fighting because she knows that she's going to be raped. And then raping her, and that makes her his wife, and so the next town, when they come to rescue her, it's too late. She's already been ruined. Yeah.
That's awful.
But that's how they used to do it. So, yeah. So it's very similar to those kind of times. Only he hasn't raped her yet or married her.
Yeah.
I hope she hasn't married her. He hasn't gone over, like, done a ceremony while she was passed out or anything like that, hopefully. Since he is, after all, St. Jude.
Yeah, he's ordained. He's ordained by virtue of his name. But yeah, I do like that she goes out of her way to insist that he is not a rapist. Damn it, he's very offended when she thinks that he might rape her, and then Calvin comes in and almost like rapes her. So you know that he is the bad guy, because Calvin's a jerk who doesn't respect her boundaries, and Jude also doesn't respect her boundaries, but then he lectures her about what a good guy he is. So you know he is the good one. Yeah. So, if you guys don't have anything else that we need to chat about, aside from what Ollie should do with her numerous copies of Black Ice that she refuses to burn for some reason.
Well, she needs to do another giveaway.
This is true. Right. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you should do a giveaway, and then everybody can get a copy of this because we hate you all. Yep. Well, I think that's it then, huh? No, Ollie. This is just Ollie says, does this girl have that pheromone where all the dudes' cocks are hard around her and they need to rape?
Well, right now, so there's only the one guy, but when there was that other guy, he was trying to rape her. So.
That's true. He was. Yeah. No, Ollie. This is how you tell that a girl is desirable. It's when all of the dudes want to fuck her, and you can tell that which one's the good guy by how much he doesn't rape her. Apparently, those are the standards. It really is meant to indicate how desirable Britt is, though, that all the dudes want to fuck her. So.
Yeah, her instead of Corby.
Right, exactly. Her instead of Corby, specifically.
Because she's got 3 guys in this book who've gotten into her pants, or almost gotten into her pants, or almost forced themselves into her pants, so.
Yep. Um, yeah. Pretty terrible.
And there's been, what, 4 guys in this book? And the 4th guy, of course, would have been her father.
Yeah, well,
So.
yeah, that's not happening, thank God.
So every guy who has shown up in this book
Who
has
is
had a
not
crush
directly related
on
to her.
Brit.
I think Sean was kind of surprisingly not into that. Like he flirted with her, but then he just turned out to be totally erratic and jumpy. So,
Yeah, and he basically stopped trying to rape her after
oh yeah,
Jude walked in, too.
right.
So.
God, I forgot about that. He totally did. Jesus. Yeah, I don't think any of us want to aspire to Becca Fitzpatrick world. Like let's all be upfront about that. This is pretty terrible.
So, do Jude and sorry, Jude and Britt find their way down to safety finally, or is it that someone comes around and rescues everything else?
I don't know. I don't think anybody's gonna rescue them from Calvin. I mean, obviously, one or both of them is gonna kill him, but they may or may not get the cop ending. Who knows? Guess we'll just have to find out. You sooner than I.
Yeah, I'll be reading it as soon as I get off here, basically, so that way I can get the bandage off and start healing my scar. This permanent scar on my soul that Senna forced on me.
You're
Ollie,
welcome.
Senna's not allowed to choose books anymore.
I did not choose this. I nominated it. Let's be clear, everybody else also voted for it, so it's not just me. You should also blame the listeners. Alright, so I guess that is going to be it. We will be back next Saturday to talk about the end of Black Ice and celebrate our finish. As always, you can tweet about the book as you read it if you want, at Papercuts Read Along hashtag, where all of our terrible moaning and crying is. And yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.